Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, this is going to be my last winter-themed blog this month before I move on to something truly Christmassy. And for this blog, let's talk about the Animaniacs. Created in 1993 by Tom Ruegger for Fox Broadcasting Company's Fox Kids block before moving on to the Warner Brothers in 1995, the Animaniacs is a variety show with short skits featuring a large cast of characters, mainly the Warner children. While the show had no set format, the majority of the episodes were composed of 3 short mini-episodes, each starring a different set of characters and bridging segments. Hallmarks of the series included its music, satirical, social commentary, pop culture references, character catchphrases, and innuendo directed at an adult audience. Also, this was the second animated series produced by Steven Spielberg, the first being Tiny Toon Adventures. The show ran for a total of 99 episodes until it ended in 1998. However, just recently, the Animaniacs returned with a revival series on Hulu. Now, while I did know about the show as a child, mainly due to the McDonald's toys, I didn't watch the show since I didn't have Kids WB at the time, so I instead grew up with the Pinky and the Brain series while watching Nickelodeon. But fortunately, during the 2010s, thanks to some encouragement and inspiration from folks who did watch the show, like Mr. Coat, Huey Toonmore, South Jersey Sam, and the cartoon hero, I began to watch the whole series on Netflix, YouTube, and later on DVD. And to me, this show is a lot of fun to watch, and I think the comedy is absolutely very hilarious and excellent, and it feels very reminiscent to the Looney Tunes. Anyway, on the topic of the Animaniacs, today I'm going to look at a movie which served as the series finale. So let's get started. Released to home video on December 21st, 1999, the movie is Animaniacs Wakko's Wish. Now, let's get started. In this animated movie featuring the Animaniacs characters, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot Warner live in a magical quasi-19th century fairy tale world. When Dot is in desperate need of an operation, Wakko tries to earn enough money to fund it. But after being swindled by a heartless Baron von Plotz, he seeks out a fallen wishing star to save his dear sister's life. However, the star can grant only one wish to whoever touches it. And the other citizens of Acme Falls are racing through the mountains to find it. So, Wakko and his siblings must hurry. So, what do I personally think of this movie? Well, why didn't I see this when I was a kid? I would have loved it back then. But, after watching it on YouTube in 2011 and getting my own DVD copy in 2014, I thought this movie was an underrated comedic cartoon masterpiece. And to further explain why I love the movie, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, there's not a lot of trivia to talk about, but what are my thoughts on the animation? Well, to me, the animation is not only great and zany, but it's also nostalgic, due to it representing the 90s. Plus, I like that the movie doesn't take itself too seriously, since this movie is a comedy. Also, while the movie is mostly a race through the mountains to reach a fallen wishing star, some of my favorite moments is the bedtime story scene, which is absolutely cute and heart-touching. There's also the part where several characters are crossing a rickety bridge over a deep chasm. There's the avalanche, which was caused by Wakko's burp, which absolutely made me laugh out loud. And there's also the scene where the Warners are pestering King Salazar. And there are also a few gags involving this mime here, which kind of makes me think of the time when I played a mime in Hello Dolly. However, the baloney dinosaur part was kind of disturbing due to it referencing a certain purple dinosaur who must never be named. And I thought the part where Dot got shot by a cannon broke my heart, and it really made me cry. Okay. Also, like in the show, I like how the movie pokes fun at several stuff, like sports, TV shows, celebrities, movies, even Spielberg himself. Also, while watching the film, not only is it hilarious, but there are also a few parts that are pretty dark, like the opening prologue, for example. And now let's move on to the songs. Now, the songs were written by Tom Ruegger and Randy Rogel, and they were composed by Animaniacs composer Richard Stone and Julie Bernstein. Now, in my opinion, the first song, Never Give Up Hope, is an optimistic song to listen to, especially during times like the COVID epidemic. The Train Bringing Wakko song is a clever parody of the Wells Fargo wagon from The Music Man. Wakko's Hey Penny song is a really catchy tune, and my favorite part of the song is the burgers at the butchers, pastries at the bakers, grocers at the grocers, see some tickets for the Lakers part. Also, the song gets a really sad reprise after Baron von Plotz takes Wakko's fortune away. Next is my favorite song, The Hungarian Rhapsody, where the Warner kids and the other characters start their journey to find the wishing star. In my eyes, this song is very fast-paced and entertaining, and sometimes I can't help but laugh while listening to it. Finally, we have If I Could Have My Wish, Then I'd Be Happy, which is where every character shares their heart's desire. And now let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought them to life. Oh, and just to give you a heads up, several of these actors do more than one character in this movie. Let's start with our main characters, the Warner children, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, voiced by veteran voice actors Rob Paulsen, Jess Harnell, and Trez MacNeille. These kids are the stars and mascots of the Animaniacs series, and in my eyes, these kids are not only playful, but they're an absolute riot. However, underneath it all, Yakko is responsible, persistent, and optimistic. Wakko is sweet-natured, kind, caring, and has a big appetite. And Dot, aka Princess Angelina Contessa Luisa Francesca Banana Fana Bobesca III, is not only adorable, but she's also outgoing and highly intelligent. And I can't help but feel sympathy when the narrator mentions that Dot needs an operation. Also in this movie, the Warners are orphan children who have been living in an abandoned water tower ever since the orphanage shut down. Later, after finding their birth certificates at the end of the movie, it was revealed that their father was the late King William. Also, I think the Warner's vehicle, which is actually a sled with a sail, is really cool in my opinion. Next we come to Dr. Otto Scratch and Sniff and Hello Nurse, also voiced by Rob Paulsen and Trez MacNeille. To me, while they are designed kind of maturely, I still think they're decent characters, especially when they act as the Warner's therapists. In this movie, Scratch and Sniff wants his medicines and elixirs to be successful, and Hello Nurse wants people to appreciate her for her intelligence, not for her looks. Next we come to Pinky and the Brain, voiced by Rob Paulsen and Maurice LaMarche. These two are mutated lab mice from Acme Labs who, every night, try to take over the world. In this movie, like in the show, Brain, who's a genius, keeps thinking of ways to conquer the world. And as a bonus note, it also means that Mr. Big in Zootopia is the second evil rodent that Maurice LaMarche has ever voiced. And Pinky, who's insane, is for some reason smitten with Scratch and Sniff's horse, Farfig Newton. Which sounds kind of strange, but at the same time, nowadays, it kind of reminds me of Elsa's relationship with the Water Knock, which I absolutely approve of. Also, I like when these mice recreate Leonardo da Vinci's air screw to fly to the wishing star. Next up are Slappy Squirrel and her nephew Skippy. Slappy is voiced by Sherry Stoner, who co-wrote Casper and My Favorite Martian. And she was an animation model for Ariel and Belle. And Skippy is voiced by Nathan Ruger. Slappy is an elderly, grouchy veteran cartoon tree squirrel who wants peace and quiet and time for herself, while Skippy wants to hang out with other squirrels his age. Also, I like that these guys go through the trees to reach the wishing star. Next up are Rita and Runt. Rita is a feisty, independent, and talented cat voiced by Bernadette Peters, whom you may know from Annie, 1982, Don Bluth's Anastasia, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella from 1997, and Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return. And Runt is a happy-go-lucky dog voiced by Frank Welker. These two both want a home off the streets. They try to get to the wishing star by riding in Dr. Scratch and Sniff's wagon. Next we have the Goodfeathers, Pesto, Bobby, and Squit, voiced by John Mariano, Chick Veneta, and Maurice LaMarche. These pigeons are parodies of Goodfellas and a few Robert De Niro characters. And to me, I think they might have been the inspiration for the pigeons in Bolt. In this movie, the Goodfeathers are hired by King Salazar to keep watch on Baron von Plotz to make sure that they succeed in killing the Warner kids. However, they instead fly off to the wishing star themselves, since they're tired of being insulted and neglected and being called rats with wings all the time. Our next characters are Mindy, voiced by Nancy Cartwright, best known for voicing Rufus in Kim Possible, and Gusty in My Little Pony Generation 1. And Buttons is vocalized by Frank Welker. Mindy is a toddler who seems to always get into mischief, and Buttons is a faithful German shepherd who's often harmed by whatever danger Mindy narrowly avoids. In this movie, while they're unaware about the wishing star, Mindy gets distracted by Slappy and Skippy and follows them through the trees, while Buttons follows after her to make sure that she doesn't get hurt. Next we come to Baron Thaddeus Plotz and his assistant Constable Ralph T. Guard, both voiced by Frank Welker. In the show, Plotz is the CEO of Warner Brothers, and Ralph is a dim-witted security guard. But in this movie, Plotz became the Acme Falls tax collector and baron, and Ralph is the village constable. Later, Plotz and Ralph briefly become King Salazar's mercenaries, assigned to kill the Warner kids before they reach the wishing star. Next we come to the Desirement Fulfillment Facilitator, aka Pip, voiced by Ben Stein, who appeared in the Casper trilogy, the Mask movies, and Santa vs. the Snowman. In the show, Pip is a minor recurring character, but in the film, he appears after Wakko chooses the right wishing star during his Twinkle Twinkle song. After meeting Wakko, Pip summons the said wishing star to fall into the mountains and tells Wakko that whomever touches the star first gets one wish. To me, while Pip is a decent character, he kind of has a habit of rambling and not letting go of somebody's hand while he's shaking it. Finally, we come to the main villain, King Salazar, voiced by Paxton Whitehead, who was in Jumpin' Jack Flash, Rover Dangerfield, and The Adventures of Huck Finn. Now this guy is the pushy ruler and dictator of the Kingdom of Tiktakia, who invaded Warner stock in a hostile takeover while the kingdom was struggling for power with itself, due to the death of their king, Sir William the Good. To me, Salazar is a mean, ruthless, selfish, murderous, aggressive, dangerous, stubborn, power-hungry, and greedy monarch. And he's responsible for sending the Warners to the orphanage and overtaxing everybody. Plus, while he tries to get a wish from the star, he also plans to exterminate the Warner children. And I really do not forgive him for shooting Dot with a cannon. But at least he gets his comeuppance when he gets kicked out of the kingdom and gets attacked by his dogs. The movie also includes other characters like Katie Kaboom, Minerva Mink, Chicken Boo, the Hip Hippos, and more. And now for my final words. Overall, Animaniacs Wakko's Wish is not only a fun movie, but it was also a great way to end the TV show. The animation is classic and zany, the jokes are hilarious, the characters are memorable and comical, and the voice acting is spectacular. But at the same time, I wish I could have watched this movie and the TV show when I was younger, because that would have been a fun childhood experience. Still, this is a movie that everybody should watch, whether you grew up with the show or if you love 90s cartoons. So, with that said, I give this movie the highest rating of 100%. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next time, where I share with you 10 of my all-time favorite Christmas songs. Mustang Power. Oh, and remember, just cheer up and never give up hope.